while Jack is looking for photos, I just want to share something with the group. Last year, Seeds partnered with the Wayne County Habitat for Humanity organization, and we wanted to introduce them to solar technology. We put a solar thermal system on a Habitat home just up the road here in Waymart, and it's the first time it ever happened in the state of Pennsylvania that a solar system was installed on a Habitat home. It's happened in other states, but Blair was a huge help to that. Jack was a huge help. Blair donated his time to make it happen, and it's the first time it happened in Pennsylvania, so I thought I'd share that.
Solar, question, solar thermal, did you use evacuated tubes or copper?
We use the flat plate collectors.
That's copper.
Yeah. His question is evacuated tube versus solar thermal, solar hot water. It's like the term that's used interchangeably. This is to heat your domestic hot water or to heat a lot of times radiant floors.
Yeah.
But evacuated tube is just these evacuated tube cylinders that get really, really hot and then heat the water that crosses the top, where the other one is just a big panel that has basically a big header, that like an inch and a quarter copper header that has little 3/8 tubes that goes from one side to the other, and that heats up the water. We use the flat plate collectors. They're just, I don't. We've done evacuated tube before. I don't really always care for them and the companies that we've done them for because they're, yeah. I prefer flat plate collector. It's just, I do. So, this
You want
is,
the lights out or?
yeah, turn the lights off. Thank you. And then, I don't know what kind of sound is on there. So.
How do you fix the inverter in the middle when it goes out?
You gotta pop the panel up.
All of the panels to get to it and then put them back in? Like that one right there.
Yeah. So we're gonna pause it for a second. Anyway, so here you see, this is actually a ground mount that we took videos of maybe 2 years ago, because it was real easy to see the back and actually get a visual of it. But here's just going across the front. There's 3 rows of 12 panels each, 36 panels total. I think it was a 90 kilowatt system. And then here are your little clips that hold the panel in. So on the end, you have an end clip and then mid clips in between each panel. So this panel, this clip here, holds in the panel before it and the next panel. And then this one, the panel before it, the next panel. So if you were, say you had to, if this was on your roof and you couldn't access the inverter from behind, you would have to take this panel out to get to it. So you pop off that clip, this clip, and the top two. So you pull off 4 clips, pull the panel out, and then get to the inverter and plug everything you work on. The question is, how sturdy are these panels? 90-inch or 1-inch hailstone at 90 miles an hour is what they claim. We've walked on these panels before. We don't just go charging up them, but if you need to get to a certain panel and you can't reach it, then you can act like you just lay out and kind of disperse your body weight as best as possible, like you would if you're crawling across a thin ice pond or something. How much is too much weight? I couldn't tell you, but we'd like to just kind of disperse your weight as much as possible. You can even lay out a piece of plywood if you want to fan out that weight as much as you can. But, okay, go ahead. So this is what it would look like. As you can see, but this is actually micro inverters too, so you don't see any inverters at all. And this actually is set up pretty far from the guy's house, so there was an issue with the monitoring of it too, where we have to actually mount the monitoring stuff outside, so it could pick up the internet signal from the house better than it could pick up the signal from the inverter. So, you want to skip to the next different one, maybe? Or maybe back. Yeah. So there's a picture of just the inverter. This is the rail itself. I'm taking these with my iPhone, so if I'm holding the phone like this or that, I don't know that I'm holding it sideways. So just picture this whole video turned to the right. And then you want to start that over for a second, Jack? That's the inverter mount from the top, and just pause it for a second. So there's 2 bolts that mount this inverter, some style inverters. I'm not sure which one we'll get. but some inverters use only 1 volt, and what you see here is a copper bonding wire that goes in between, it bonds this inverter with the actual rail itself, and you'll notice right here is a splice, and that looks like a splice, it looks like a break in the panel, but that's actually just a black zip tie. And this is what is called a bonding lug. So, you know, where you have one splice bar, where it meets together and meets another rail, you have 2 rails come together and there's a splice bar that joins the 2, you'll actually have to jump those 2 to maintain that continuous bond of the rail. So that way, if any live wire ever struck the rail, it would go straight to ground and should not hurt anybody. But you can go ahead and play it. So again, picture this rail being tilted like this, but I'm just getting a close-up of the bond wire that bonds here, comes along, bonds to that, and then there's the splice in the rail, and then bonds this other rail, and then goes down to bond the ones below it. Because, again, this is a detail we kind of skipped over, but we'll get into more detail with that tomorrow and exactly show everything, but each rail has to be bonded together. One, it's safer electrically, a requirement, but also 2, in terms of lightning and everything, it's safer that way too. Basically, it makes your solar array less appealing to be struck by lightning.
Is that an inverter?
That is an inverter. That's what I thought I brought one today, but I didn't, so we'll
What's the
have one.
size, what's the size approximately?
Size is yay big.
Clipboard, but 2 inches thick.
Yeah, relatively thick. And then you can see actually here too, again, this is a ground mount, so this was a builder that built his own structure, and he just basically built the side of a building, except without the plywood. So you can see that black strip on the top, and you can actually see the L-foot mounted right to that neoprene covering he put over his locust wood that he used. And then the L-foot mounted and the rail going horizontal. And then you want to pull up another, I'm going to show you maybe 2 or 3 more videos and then take any questions, and that should be good for tonight. There's the bonding lug that I talked about. Pause that for a second. So this is your bonding lug. It's a 7/16 inch socket that is threaded through here, and then you put your actual bonding wire through there, and that's what actually makes your mechanical connection. And then this part here is, you have the head of the bolt, then you have what's called a weave. It's basically just like a little bond clip that has barbs on both ends. So when you tighten this down onto the rail, it pinches into the rail through the anodized part of the aluminum rail, and it also pinches up into the stainless steel lug, so that way it makes connection. And then up to this side you have a flat washer, a lock washer, and then a nut that tightens down, and this is me just showing a video of putting it on. You can see those little circles of those little bars that bite into it. That just slides into the rail, and you just tighten it down with the default socket. Sometimes it's easier to actually tighten this part onto the wire first, and then swing that wherever you want. And then this lead is going along, and there's your splice bar with a actual jumper installed between the two. And I think the next. Yeah, do that one. And then this is what is also called a weave, different form of a weave. Again, something else that we skipped over was when you put your panel down, you have your 2 rails, and then you slap your first panel on with your 2 end clips, and then before you smack your another panel, slap your other panel up here, you have to put mid clips in between them. So you put your panel up here, you have your 2 mid clips, but this weave right here clips into the rails, and this is what bonds your panel to your rails. So you have your mid clip, you have your rail, then you have your weave, and then you have your 2 panels on it, and then your mid-clip goes in between. When you tighten down your mid-clip, those barbs bite into the rail, and then they also bite upwards into each panel. So then this panel is grounded, and so is this panel, or bonded, and so is this panel. So you have two rails, and then the question is, well, where do I put the weave? You're supposed to stagger your weave. So if we start with the top one in between the first two panels, between the second and third panel, we put the weave on the lower clip down here. And then the upper clip is between number 3 and 4, and the lower clip. So you just stagger it, and that way each rail is bonded through the panels, and then the rails are even bonded together through that bonding rod that I showed before. Go ahead and play that. So there's the weave, you see the little barbs here, those little holes, and then those little tabs you just put right into the rail. With that nice sunshine, and you can't really see what's going on, but. So then as I'm sliding this under that panel, right there, and then that little tab stops it, and then I'm just gonna slap my other panel right up to this other tab here, and you see that slotted area there where my mid-clip goes. Your mid-clip is like it has a T-bolt to it, so you slide your T-bolt into the rail, and then as you tighten it, it spins and locks itself underneath the grooves of the rail, so that way it doesn't pop out. And that's what your mid-clip looks like, and again, your other panels will be right it under here, and then you want to crank down on that. And sometimes you could actually hear a little bit of a ping from the teeth biting in, but that's
Must be a non-weekday.
yeah. That's about it. Does anybody have any other questions?
Aside from the bonding and grounding, is there any other lighting considerations?
You can install what's called a lightning arrestor. That would go on your main panel, but have we installed any of those? I've always been told by the different instructors we've had through seeds that pretty much a waste of time, like if lightning's gonna go through it, it's gonna go through it, but, like, I equate it to, like, our business my dad's been in the area, he grew up in the area, plumbing, heating, electric for 30 years, water pumps and everything, and slowly, I think 2007, I started working for him full-time and started doing electrical courses for New York State, got my New York State Master Electrician's license, and about that time is when Seeds had their courses for the solar, so I did those, did the solar, did the windmill, did the solar hot water, and then have been doing the solar ever since. But the reason I bring up my father is because we also do well pumps. And he said before they grounded well pumps, they used to just run 2 wires down the well for a submersible pump. He said after a lightning storm, he'd pretty much clear his schedule for at least 2 or 3 days because he'd be replacing pump after pump after pump. But once they started grounding the wells, running that third bond wire, that ground wire down the well, I mean, we do maybe a dozen pumps a year now. I mean, it's dropped off incredibly. So the fact that you're bonding all that metal junk on your roof is all bonded and run to ground, and then it's also bonded to your existing electrical ground rods also. So that makes it, from the way it's been explained to me and the way you can see the example of the well pump, is that when it looks down on the ground and it sees everything, your metal junk on your roof is just as appealing as an open field or something, it doesn't make it any more appealing than, it's not like you're running around with a lightning rod swinging around. Any other questions? Yes?
What are the panels made out of? Tempered glass or what?
Yeah, it's like a tempered glass and aluminum frame, anodized aluminum frame.
The copper wire, did it run a slice between rail to rail, or it ran the whole thing?
We ran, for the inverters, we just ran the whole thing. This one was New York State. It was also part of the NYSERDA program, and they are the NYSERDA program, they do spot inspections after I think your first 3 installs. After that, they'll do spot inspections. And then they're very, very, very strict on all their rules and all this stuff, and sometimes they interpret the code to be something that really you don't interpret to be that way, that no one else interprets to be that way, but they're an inspector and they come to find something wrong, so they're going to find something wrong. And if they find something like the bonding is the main thing that they look for, if they find that's wrong, then it's a big issue. So we just run number 8 wire across everything when we're in New York State, so that way the inspector can say, oh, number 8 bond wire, okay, good, he's set. And then you know.
But in Pennsylvania, you use the rail as part of the,
You could, for those inverters, when you tighten those inverters down to the rail, you could also use one of those weaves for the inverter also, to bond that inverter to the rail.
I meant the ground wire.
But the ground wire's on the inverter.
Oh, okay.
It's bonding both.
The only real requirement you have is to have continuous bond per rail. So say we have 3 rows of panels, which means 6 rails. All we have to do is bond every other rail going up the roof, because the lower 2 rails are bonded together through the panels in those weaves. And then we jump to the next rails and bond one of those because they're bonded through the rails. And then jump to the next one, they're bonded through the rails. And then we run it down, you know, inside the building or on the side of the building with the liquid tight. And then number 8 is what's required for solar. But if you're running it behind the panels, but if it breaks out from behind the panels, it's considered subject to damage. So then, therefore, it needs to be number 6 wire. And if it's below, well, like I think it's 4 foot along the outside of the building, that's subject to damage with a weed whacker or a lawnmower, so it needs to be at least 6 copper there also. So it's a lot easier. I mean, number 8 is the code for solar, but it's a lot easier just to get a spool number 6 and run number 6, bare copper. Any other questions? Yes.
I've read and understand that in Europe, the cost of installation on solar projects has been reduced significantly over the years. It's one of the places that they figured out how to do it for a lesser cost. And in the States, it's not that way. And I'm wondering, have you experienced since you started several years ago to now, the possibility of being able to do it quicker or lowering your installation costs in some fashion? Or are you privy to any reason why it's so much more expensive in the States than it is in Europe?
I think in the States, probably just because, I mean, there's a lot of money being given out in a lot of different states. So,
Well, the cost of the panels are a lot less than they used to be.
than they used to be, yeah.
Yeah.
2000.
I see installation costs only, not the panels, but the actual putting them on the roof and
There's been some improvements in actual, like, you know, with that bond wire we showed, or with the jumper, I'm sorry, not the jumper, the splice bar between 2 rails. With that splice bar, it was okay that those 2 grounding lugs that you need, those 2 grounding lugs, you have to have a jump that goes between those to bond those 2 rails together. Well, now that splice bar itself, manufacturers more and more are coming out, even Unirac is coming out with this too. A little bit more expensive, obviously, but that bonding rail, or that splice bar itself is the bond also. So you don't have to go through that time-consuming part of running that jumper wire in between each one and those little components and tightening down that stuff. So, and even like a lot of the ground mount we just got today, the weave, you don't have to worry about putting a weave under each panel because the actual clip itself, as you tighten it down, pierces the anodized aluminum on the panel and also the rail itself. So that is your bond also. So it's like eliminating parts, therefore eliminating time. And that's why things are getting faster here in the States. But I personally think that it's just people are used to charging a certain amount for it, and even as they get faster, they just keep their same labor rate. And, you know, especially like New York State throws so much money at you. You know, what does the homeowner care if they're getting 30% off the federal taxes, 25% off their state taxes for the system, and then also an additional 70 cents per watt on the system if you're an extra $1,000 for the system because they're only paying, you know, $300 of that? They're not going to notice that. That's what I think it is.
The other thing is, in Europe, the regulatory environment is very different. Here, every township, every municipality has a different building code, different inspectors. They've spent a lot of time in Europe to get the inspections and the regulatories consistent everywhere in a single country, and even in some cases, the entire European Union. We don't accept that as a possibility, even though the Department of Energy is trying really hard to get municipalities to have a common building codes. It's hard.
Question.
Yes.
Like generators, the bigger it is, then the more usage you can get from it in terms of how you want to use it in your home. If it's to keep your TV going, your lights going, your appliances going. How is it with them? I came in a little late. Am I assuming that because we have these 20-some odd panels, that is supplying me all of my utility services that I need, or is it just a portion of it? I'm concerned if I want to start off small and grow into the comfort zone of what I'm doing because of such an investment. I'm looking at, perhaps I want to just run my septic, my water pump on it. So does that make a difference in terms of how many panels or what kind of panels? And the other part of this is when I see the utility companies using the single panels on telegraph poles, is that also an option for what use of panels we can use if we're starting out small versus something grand scale?
Yeah, if you're starting, the first part of your question, if you're starting off small and you say, well, I just want to run my well pump or I just want to run my dryer.
Right.
It's not like you're going to run these panels and the wires directly to your dryer and that's going to run your dryer.
Right, right.
All you're doing is you're running it into your electric panel, whether it uses that electricity for your lights or your internet or your dishwasher, it doesn't care, but you wouldn't say, like you could size a system based on just your,
That's the way you have it.
just your well pump
Okay.
usage. You could size a system, but it's not like the electricity coming through the lines is going to be like, no, I'm not going out until that well pump kicks on. It just goes to whatever is being used at the time. So you would save, that amount of money in regards to whatever your well pump is using if you base it on your well pump. But you could do whatever size system you want. The ones you see for these different telephone poles and stuff, that's just, I'm not even sure what they use.
That's in New Jersey, most of that, yeah.
Yes,
And
it is in New Jersey.
That's where the municipal, the city
Uh-huh.
is actually paying the utility to do that, or the state is in some places. And all it is really just giving the utility a space to own a panel. So it's the utilities doing that, not any residents.
Right, I know that. So I'm saying, like, when you see a single panel like that, what is it helping? Is it helping the street lights? So
Well, in that
that
case,
translates to
That's what
us.
it's done in the case of the municipality, is getting a discount on their streetlights.
Okay, so that would translate to us. We would mimic that by saying perhaps it's going to turn on our home lights. So we don't have to,
Electrons just go wherever the wire leads. So anytime, anything that's turned on will get power either from your panel or from the grid. You don't know what thing's powering which. And
So
electrons just flow, let it flow.
Well, if you guys want to ask questions up afterwards, I just want to give everyone a
Tomorrow
chance
at 9 o'clock, so
to leave if you want to leave. But if any other questions you want to come up and just ask me individually.
And we'll see you tomorrow. Don't forget your homework assignment. If you're, please come tomorrow.